We're back. We're live for the 4 to 5 block on Monday, Labor Day. And Albert Fung is with me, and he believes in Labor Day as much as I do, but we both decided to come down here and do this, right, Albert?
Yes.
Thank you for joining
me. Thanks for having me.
So he runs a thing called Aquaponics in Paradise. We want to find out about that. We want to find out how he got from being an IT professional to an aquaponics professional. So tell us your background, Albert, and what led you from the one to the other.
Well, I've always been a jack of all trades. I mean, I've had my own business doing computer repair, which expanded into a gaming internet cafe up the street from here. And I got into aquaponics because I read about it in the Humble Weekly, and it sounded amazing. I mean, you can grow fish and plants in your backyard, and save a little money on your grocery bill, and it's just really a neat way to grow things, I think.
Let's explore that for a minute, because I have the same feeling about aquaponics. It's amazing, but it draws you. And I mean, I come from the same kind of thinking, that information technology kind of thinking, computer programming thinking. There's something about aquaponics that's similar, isn't it? It's you get to control how nature works. You get to change the variables and thus the outcome. It's kind of like programming something, isn't it?
Definitely. It does attract a lot of IT professionals for some reason. There's a wide variety of people who get into aquaponics. But for some reason, there's a lot of computer guys getting into it. I guess it's a matter of, like you said, controlling the system.
It's also a matter of self-reliance, about being able to, have your own universe, essentially, and being self-reliant. That thread runs through, at least for me anyway. So I can imagine the connection between the one and the other.
A little bit. It's really interesting, and it's basically two different fields put together: the aquaculture and hydroponics. So there's a little bit of a learning curve. I'm sorry. Do you have a system running?
No, but I've been talking to people right here at this table about these systems.
Yes,
for
I've seen
a while.
Yeah. Those shows.
One more question about the IT background, and that is, are you using your IT background in running Aquaponics in Paradise?
Yes, I am. After I learned about aquaponics, I Googled it and read everything I could about it. And back in 2009, there was nobody really doing it, doing a website about aquaponics and sharing information. Most of it was happening in Australia. In fact, there's 3 major websites, and everything is in metric there, so you have to convert everything over. So I started the forums, and the forums is the biggest aquaponic forums in the state with over 1,900 members.
This is Aquaponics in Paradise, is that the name?
.com, that's right.
Oh, no kidding. So I can go on aquaponicsinparadise.com right now and have a forum, international forum, on the best practices in aquaponics. Yeah?
That's right. People share pictures of their systems, ask questions, answer questions, and we just generally promote aquaponics throughout the state and the world.
Yeah, that's great. I get the feeling, Albert, that you are, doing this out of the goodness of your heart too. That you're not necessarily in it for the money, that you want to see the world take to aquaponics. Is there an element of that in your activity?
A little bit. Just sharing information for free, I think, really helps get the word around. Just being more self-sustainable. Over 90% of our food is imported into Hawaii, so being able to grow your own, especially when there's something like a hurricane scare, is kind of reassuring. And I definitely don't make a lot of money doing this, so it's a really fun passion project for me. Okay,
well, we want to talk about the hurricanes too, but let's just get the 4 corners of what you are doing. So you have an aquaponics facility right now.
Yes.
Describe it for us.
Well, let's see. I have 4 different aquaponic systems around my house. There are several thousand gallons each. I'm sorry, there's several 1,000 gallon systems, and I'm growing a variety of produce, anything from the standard stuff, leafy greens, ong choy, basil, tomatoes, lilikoi, cherry squash, cucumbers. The list really goes on.
Well, that's interesting, because usually for aquaponics farmers, the list isn't that long.
Oh,
You
there's
have
actually a lot more, but
Oh, there's a lot more possibilities.
yeah.
But usually, you know, you specialize in just a few, right? You have a longer list than just a few.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more you can grow, but it really depends on the size of your system. The people who go to my website are mostly backyarders, so they have small systems, usually about 300 gallons or so, and some of them are really tiny. You know, they're in apartments, but they're still able to do aquaponics on their balcony or lanai.
Are you saying that, I have to frame this question, are you saying that you could put a system on your balcony or lanai that would sustain you and keep you alive?
Unfortunately, it's not that productive, but you could grow a variety of herbs, and that would cut down your grocery bill, but you wouldn't be self-sustaining with a small 50-gallon system. Not really, no.
Now, how big a system do you need to be self-sustaining?
Generally, you need about a 200-gallon system for about a family of 4, but that's where the learning curve comes in. A lot of people who get into this may have experience with fish tanks or growing something in their backyard, sometimes both or neither. So learning how to grow plants is additional difficulty. So it really comes down to, I guess, how good your green thumb is.
Yeah. What do you mean by a green thumb? Because my wife and I talk about this all the time, and I know I don't have one. But what do you mean by a green thumb?
Well, some people just have the ability to grow plants very easily, I guess, and that's, I think, generally regarded as having a green thumb. While some people can't grow from seed very well. So it takes some practice and some learning on how to germinate and grow seeds.
Now, you had to be an expert in this. How did you expert yourself from an IT professional to an aquaponics professional?
Well, I read everything that I could on the internet. There's several other American sites since aquaponicsinparis.com was established. And just networking with the backyarders and also some of the professionals who are doing this now. Back in January, you had a show with Mary's Gardens.
Sure.
So I've been working with them. One of the things that my forum does, or I try to do with my forums, is use our group buying power to work with the vendors and get a discount on things.
Vendors of what?
Vendors of aquaponic and hydroponic supplies. Also, we do tours of different aquaponic farms and facilities around the state.
So what kind of fish are you growing? What kind of fish are, working for you?
In general, you can use any kind of freshwater fish, but I'm growing gold tilapia, gray tilapia, as well as swai, which is a Vietnamese catfish, and Chinese catfish. I've also got some Malaysian prawns that I'm trying to grow out, but they're very difficult.
But can be done. I mean, I guess you know that from the forum.
It was kind of a group experiment, but of course, everything is on the internet, so you can Google all that and see what people recommend and how to grow different things.
So is there a market for all that here? Can you go down to Safeway and sell your stuff?
That's what I'm still learning. I'm more of a backyarder than a commercial person.
Backyarder means you grow it for your own use.
Yes. I mean, there are food regulations and stuff. And some markets have looser regulations, but nobody wants to buy anything from a dodgy vendor. So, so it's definitely possible. There are some people who are doing it properly, but they're doing it in their backyard. We did one field trip to this guy in Hawaii Kai. He's got two 22,000-gallon ponds in his backyard that he made.
That's big.
Yep, each of them 20 by 30 by 6 feet deep, and it's all regulated and everything, and he's producing 300 pounds of tilapia every month and selling it live for about $6 to $7 wholesale each per pound. Sorry.
How many pounds is he producing again?
About 300,
Okay.
and he's expanding.
Well, that's pretty good for, you know. Is it a full-time job for him?
I think it's more of a hobby, but he's expanding to real farmland, so he sees the value in it,
Mhm.
and especially in a place in Hawaii where tilapia is not highly regarded, even though worldwide it's like the number 4 farmed fish in the world.
Let's take a short break. That's Albert Fung. He runs Aquaponics in Paradise. Where's your location in general, Albert?
I'm located in Nuuanu up the street.
Nuuanu, okay. This is ThinkTech Hawaii. We're talking about agri-tech in Hawaii. We're talking about Aquaponics in Paradise. We'll be right back after this short break.
I'm Hong Jiang, host for Asia in Review on Tuesdays.
And I'm David Day, host for Asian Review on Thursdays. Both of us broadcast our respective shows at 4 p.m.
And my topics tend to deal with questions related to environment, culture, history, and sometimes human rights.
And my shows tend to be on international business, foreign policy, geopolitics, and national security. And you can watch our shows live on the ThinkTech website at thinktechhawaii.com.
And you can also watch us on YouTube or Olalo.
So come join us on Thursdays at 4 p.m. I'm David Day.
And on Tuesdays at 4 p.m., I'm Hong Jiang.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're here with Albert Fung, who's an aquaponics person running Aquaponics in Paradise. And we're talking to him here on ThinkTech Talks, Agri-Tech in Hawaii. We're talking about aquaponics in Paradise. So, you know, one thing, you know, it strikes me that with your, you know, IT background and your sort of perception of the marketplace and your understanding of aquaponics and the community of people involved in it, you would be an ideal person to create a distribution system, a network where, you know, a co-op, if you will, where you could sell through this organization that you build, sell them to commercial buyers, right? Are you doing that? Are you thinking about that?
Well, that's how I think we got introduced via Liz.
That's Liz Shue of the
Yes.
Department of Agriculture, yeah.
And I've been, last year I was working with a lot of the aquaponic farmers and aquaculture farmers trying to create a cooperative to share our buying power.
What about your selling power?
That also is selling power. There's a lot of different ways that we can go, but right now we're caught in a lot of red tape, so hopefully we'll...
What, regulations?
Regulations.
Applications, permits, that kind of thing.
All that, funding, grants, and of course there's a budget crunch right now, so grants are a little more rare.
Where would you look? Where would an aquaponics farmer look for grants?
I use Google. I'm not sure where real aquaponic farmers go to.
Google look for anything.
But, USDA.gov has a few grants. There's a lot of them out there still, and unfortunately we just missed one that would be perfect for the CSA that we're trying to push right now.
CSA standing for Community Supported Aquaponics.
Well, traditionally it stands for Community Supported Agriculture, and most of the farms have a sort of CSA of some kind. And if you aren't already familiar with it, a CSA is a way for farmers to sell their produce directly to the consumers, and the consumers to support the local farmers.
Through a website, through an electronic clearinghouse, is that what it is?
Generally, yes, but some of the farms that aren't us are still low tech, so they're doing farmers markets or ticket sales and stuff like that, but it's a lot more efficient going through the website.
Now in the future it's got to evolve to that, don't you think?
Definitely.
So the question is, where are you in that evolution? Now, are you the only player in town that's actually trying to set up a distribution, a co-op system to both buy and sell, buy equipment and, you know, whatever it is, accessories and supplies, and then actually sell even backyard aquaponic products into the commercial chain?
As far as I know, we're the only the co-op that's trying to become established, and there's about 6 or 7 farms that are participating. And it's really interesting from my point of view, to put it all together and see them talk, because these are competitors. They're trying to sell fish against each other.
Interesting part
Yeah.
of it, isn't it?
It is. We've had, at the beginning, we had a few dinner meetings, and it was nice seeing people talk and, not fight about business, basically. So working together, we can accomplish a lot more.
But you said in the beginning, has it changed?
In the beginning, it was more just feeling out how everybody felt about it, what they wanted out of it. And from there, we've been trying to establish it, but unfortunately, like I mentioned, we hit some red tape. So hopefully we'll clear that this year.
What about the attitude among the members? I mean, are they still interested, willing, willing to sort of submit to a group effort, or do they want to play it alone?
There are a few people who we talked to, and they did not want to cooperate, and they want to do it their own self, and that's fine. But that's probably the one company that did not want to be part of the cooperative. Otherwise, everyone else is still interested and realize that we could sell a lot more. Even the biggest aquaponic farm in the state still can't meet some of the quotas, like we talked about some of the bigger hotels around. And of course, the thing about selling to them is you need stability. So a single farm by itself might not be able to meet the sales quota every week to provide, so a co-op could. So that's why I'm hoping we're going to continue and see.
Well, I think you're absolutely right about that. I mean, in my discussions with people who are in aquaponics, and both sides, both the buyers and the sellers, it's clear that we're a small market, and that the hotels and restaurants, have got to have a sense of reliability. I mean, they got to believe, confidence in whoever they talk to, whoever it is, that when they order X units, they get X units on time and of a standard of quality. And if they can't do that, then they're all, then they're down on aquaponics. So through a co-op, you could achieve that. You can go to the biggest farm and the littlest farm and all the farms in the middle and have the resilience in supply, where you could always provide what that restaurant or hotel is asking.
Yes.
You can always meet the order, and that's the magic of it. And then you can act like, it's a big city operation instead of a little operation. But the problem is, and I want to know more about the red tape. What hangs you up? In general, you don't have to name names. Just give me the idea.
Right now, it's just the legality of getting everything put together. We're trying to do a feasibility study. I guess that's the next step, and that's where we're kind of bound right now.
For whom? Somebody wants a feasibility study?
I think in general, yeah, any business you would need to do a feasibility study, a market research.
You mean a buyer? A buyer wants this? Or is it your business that wants to do it?
No, we're using a consultant, a guide, a person who does put together, or a company that does put together a lot of cooperatives and stuff like that, so they have a lot of experience with this. So to answer your question, I'm not sure who requires it, but it does make sense to have it, to make sure that there's a demand that your business will thrive. So
Right, okay, that's fair enough. And so what about other red tape kind of, what kind of permits and approvals and what have you do you need to get, and are you able to get them?
I think we'll be able to. There's already a lot of other co-ops here and worldwide, so we're not exactly forging new ground here. It's just getting it all up and running, I guess.
Time frame?
Unfortunately, I don't have one, but I would like to get it up as soon as possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could make some money in this, Albert. I mean,
That would be great.
Think of the fish market in general. That's a big operation, and there's a lot of fish. There's a lot of money passing hands. There's got to be a lot of money for handling the fish that go through the process. And if, for example, a co-op could handle a lot of fish, and a lot of money would pass hands, the people who run the co-op, well, the co-op itself, I suppose, theoretically, would make some money. People work for the co-op. It's a business. That's
Sure.
what you have here. You
Yes.
know? So you got to get it off the ground.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So you said there were others, though. Are they bigger or smaller than you are, or are they in the same circumstance?
The examples that I'm thinking of are already established. There's a cattle co-op that I met with to discuss how they put together their co-op, and it was very interesting to learn how cattle is raised and shipped out, and how the co-op works and stuff like that. So
Good
there's other
idea.
different co-ops, but not specifically one for aquaponics.
Yeah.
But
Good
then-
idea. But a co-op is a co-op. You know?
Yeah. In the meantime, though, we're working with one farm and putting out that CSA.
So how does the CSA work? I mean, I'm looking at this business card, and it's a website, community-supported-aquaponics.com,
hmm
and that's different from your Aquaponics in Paradise. That
Yes.
Aquaponics in Paradise is yours.
Yes.
This community-supported aquaponics is the co-op. Yeah.
In a way, it came from the co-op, and hopefully will expand as we get bigger and involve the other farms, and that might be the way that the co-op actually comes to existence, rather than doing all the background research like market studies and feasibility and stuff like that, by actually just going out there, getting your hands dirty and selling the product for the farmers. And that's what it does. The CSA, the Community Support Aquaponics,
It's a market. It's an electronic market for the sale of aquaponics projects.
basically it takes the
And you don't have to put it in a central distribution warehouse or refrigerated area or anything like that. You would have the producer delivered directly. Is that right?
Well, we have different ways of doing it right now. People can pick it up at the farm. Right now, the farm's in Mililani,
So the buyer would pick it up at the farm.
if they're in that area. But we also have a pickup location in Kapi'olani, and then I deliver in the Nuano area for a small fee. But then that's just the convenience of it. And the packages are sold in weekly or bi-weekly. Bi-weekly as in every other week.
So how you have 1,500 members, yeah?
Actually, 1,900 members now. Yeah.
Since we spoke, or since I spoke to Liz Shue. Huh?
Yes.
Hey, you're growing like Topsy.
Yeah.
Well, but how many members, Albert, are there potentially for you? It strikes me that there are a lot of people who have aquaponics facilities who might have, maybe it's marginal for some of them, but they might have extra product, and maybe they could use, this process, this co-op process. So do you have any sense of how many there would be if you added everybody that was potentially a member?
I think I'm hearing two different questions there. Potential members is people that we haven't reached yet, and
Right.
then there's the existing members who are various sizes, and most of them are producing enough for themselves. A few are producing extra, which they're selling, but those are the ones with the larger systems and more time to devote to it. And I do have a discussion in the forums regarding that eventually we would like to buy from them, from the backyarders, for people to make extra money, but there would still need to be some certain protocols and food handling to make sure that everything is handled safely.
Quality control.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a problem. If you had, say, another 1,900 out there, they're all small operators. Somebody has to go and look and see whether it's done right, whether it's safe, all that. That's a burden. And if you're running a co-op and it falls on you, that's a substantial burden.
I suppose you have to ask a lawyer about that, but I believe that the liability would pass through to the grower if you keep track of the lot numbers and everything.
No, but I mean, as the co-op, you want to sell quality merchandise.
Yes, of course.
So in order to achieve that, you have to go out and talk to, Joe Tanaka, who is running this in his backyard, and take a look at his system, and make sure that he's doing it by the right protocol, right? So who would do that? Who would make that trip?
That's what we're still working on, but so as far as the co-op goes, right now working with the commercial farms, though eventually I'd like to include the backyarders, but there is that.
Yeah, I see. The commercial farms are already qualified.
Yes.
Then you don't have to worry about them
Yes.
as much. So, do you see this as aquaponics as more in line with the future sustainability of the state than, say, open ocean aquaculture? Other kinds of, for example, hydroponics, growing plants, and other high-tech things. Is this the leading possibility for you? And is it the exclusive possibility in the sense that you think it will survive and be the prevailing system going forward, or will it join other systems, and which ones?
It's a little hard to say. Aquaponics is relatively new, even though technology dates back to Chinese rice paddies or Hawaiian lo'is and stuff like that. But I think all of them working together will help us become more self-sustainable. The thing about hydroponics is that it's a very well-known science. They know exactly how to grow a head of lettuce, what nutrients to use, how much, and everything already. The thing about aquaponics is that it's a little newer and they don't have all the rules set yet. So I think my website and other websites help figure these things out for people. Because we cannot use those nutrients that they use in hydroponics, everything has to be pretty much organic, because you're growing vegetables using the fish waste. So if you add nutrients, then you might potentially kill the fish.
But isn't, I was going to ask you this, so if I open the manual, wherever that manual may be, online or whatever, and it says, well, here's what you do. You take a 300-gallon tank, and you put this hose, and then you get this kind of lettuce, and you put it over there, and you get this kind of fish, and put it over there, and every day you feed the fish, and you put the water from the fish onto the lettuce, it'll be fine. Isn't there a place where it describes exact recipes for making this work? What are the untested aspects of it? Can't I just follow the cookbook?
Yes, in general you can, but there's a lot of other factors that you have to consider. If you're growing lettuce, say in Waianae, then it probably won't work because it's very hot and lettuce doesn't survive in the heat. Environmental factors, basically. Tomatoes and so on, need more heat, so that would be better in Waianae. Depends on the size of your system, how many fish you have. A lot of these other variables are kind of on a sliding scale. So in general, that's a pretty good assessment of how the aquaponic system works, but there's a little more to it, just to make sure.
And where can I find out about the latest and greatest observations and experiments, and the gloss on the basic rules that will help me deal with too much temperature in Waianae, whatever it is, different kind of environment somewhere else? Where are those last, the most recent lessons that I need to learn? Where can I find them? Can I find them on your site?
Yes, you can find it in the forums. People are asking all those questions that you asked, actually. Anything from beginners to experts are on there and willing to help out.
That's great. We'll take another break. This is Albert Fung. He runs Aquaponics in Paradise, in Nu'uanu, actually. This is ThinkTech Hawaii. We're talking about agritech in Hawaii, and we're talking about his company and his co-op today. We'll be right back after this break.
Aloha, hello. My name is Hong Jiang, and I host ThinkTech Asia every Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. At our show, we talk about issues that are important in Asia, such as environment, culture, history, religion. We broadcast live, and we're also on Olelo 54. Make sure to tune in, and we'll see you there. Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay, we're back. We're live with Albert Fung of Aquaponics in Paradise. We got some pictures to show you. We'll put them on the screen, and Albert can give you a running narrative about what we're looking at. Okay, ready? Pictures. There's a picture.
Okay, well that's just the logo for my website, and it describes how Aquaponics works. This is one of the member systems, and it's a repurposed IBC liquid container. This one is in somebody's basement in Chicago, and they're growing vegetables and fish in their basement using electric lighting. this member system is really interesting. This is a NFT system and is growing a lot of lettuce, as you can see there. And that's the other half of the system. Those are the grow beds, and you can't see it, but there's a 300-gallon tank right below those fake brick facade there. And this is a variety of different systems that people have built and posted pictures of on my website.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
I believe that's one of Glenn Martinez's aquaponic systems, and there is a fish tank that's, I think, at the top of the picture, and it feeds the grow beds are on the bottom right, which drain down to the middle and then finally back into the fish tank. So there's a lot of different ways that it can be created.
So yeah, that's an interesting question. Well, let's go through some of them. What are you seeing here?
Just more of the member systems, just a lot of ways that you can build aquaponic systems basically, and everybody has their own take on building it.
Yeah, that's an interesting piece, so that you can do what you want. However, they aren't all equally efficient or successful.
Most of these are pretty successful, so long as the person who builds it follows the basic rules. Occasionally you hear of things where people will have skipped some of the rules and they'll put in Miracle Grow for the plants, which will kill the fish.
Oh,
and unfortunately
tricky.
it happens.
Okay, I think we finished the pictures, eh?
Oh, okay.
Oops, there's more.
There's these are the Csa packages that we have. Every week I take a picture and post them online so that potential members can see what they get for their money, basically. And these are some of the small products that I sell for people who don't want to build their own, or they aren't handy or have tools. So I build small kits and systems for people to purchase and put together, or I occasionally put together larger systems for people.
These are all different kinds of systems that we're seeing here.
That's right.
Well, so okay, that's a new element for me anyway, that you actually sell some of the supplies and equipment to build these things.
Yeah, a couple of years after I started the forums, I added a front end to the website for consulting, but still, it's a pretty small business. A lot of people are still learning about aquaponics, and it's definitely growing. There's a section in the forums about aquaponics in the news. So a lot of schools and a lot of facilities are doing it now, for either to teach kids or as therapy.
As therapy?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. How does that work as therapy? I mean, with the plants and the fish, I suppose.
A few years ago, let's see, Kanyoi Hospital, I think it's called, set up an aquaponic system for patients to garden, and it's very peaceful, I think.
Yeah, well, gardening is therapeutic for sure. And you also consult. You not only will put them in touch with the equipment they need, and I suppose the design, but you'll actually go out there and talk to them about how to build that system and maintain it, I suppose.
I will go out and build systems for people, but it really depends on, I guess, the level of requirement that they need.
You mean in terms of size, or the kind of fish, or the kind of produce they're growing?
Yeah, all those things I take into account: the ambient temperature, location, the amount of sunlight that their location gets, that kind of those
Sure,
kind of
because
variables.
it's all variables, and you've got to adjust things for it. So if I'm a retired person, Albert, and I say, well, I'm gonna put a couple thousand gallons in my backyard. It's a business. I mean, do I have to get zoning? Do I have to talk to government agencies about this, or is it still fall within, a kind of backyard operation?
As far as I know, you do not need any kind of special license to operate it, especially if it's just for your own consumption.
Right.
I guess the amount of detail you're talking about, if you live in a townhouse or something like that. But otherwise, no.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
I've seen people build systems out of their old hot tub that still holds water, but they don't use anymore
Mhm.
as a fish tank, and then build grow beds to tap off of that.
So where is this going? I mean, you mentioned earlier, and I want to, just loop back to that for a minute, that this is useful in making our society resilient and sustainable.
Mhm.
For example, in the case of hurricanes, how would that work? I guess you'd always hear that the only person with any, long-term food supply is McDonald's, and the shelves in the large food stores would be empty in no time,
Mhm.
even before the storms got here. So how would it work? How would I be better off if I had an aquaponic system in my backyard?
Well, you would have a large water reserve. I mean, there'd be fish swimming in it, but you in a crunch, you could drink that water or use that, to bathe or flush your toilets at the very least. But otherwise, I mean, you do have fish that you could eat, given that they're large enough.
So I wouldn't go hungry.
Not for a while, but it would depend on your system.
But now a lot of these systems require electricity. So
They
if it
do.
requires electricity and the power is out, my system's going to fail. So how do I prevent that?
That's where some exercise comes in. You would basically get a large bucket and pour the water on top into your grow bed several times a day.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a place in UH where they have electricity, and they're doing that every day, and they're still able to grow plants just by dumping a few 5-gallon buckets of water from their fish tank into their grow bed. The water would just trickle back into the fish tank.
So you have to design it that way so it would trickle back, rather than through a pump and a horizontal pipe. This would be a pipe that would be going down into the grow beds. Yeah.
In most systems, water is pumped up into the grow beds, so the grow beds are above the fish tanks generally.
Okay.
So gravity will just drain it back into the fish tanks.
Okay. So, but I could use solar.
Yes.
And for that matter, I mean, really, it struck me while you were talking about exercise that you could put a little bicycle out there, and you could pump it for some time every day and move the water around with the bicycle. No?
I believe somebody made something
Is
like
that right?
that, or you could make some coconut cups and Gilligan's Island it, I
Really?
guess. That'd be great. Yeah, a great way to get exercise and water your plants.
Well, so where are you going with this, Albert? You have this incipient co-op. It sounds like it's really going to get traction. You have a business where you're actually doing it yourself, and you have a consulting supply business for your clientele. Where is it going for you? What do you see as your 5-year plan?
Well, I'm hoping that the co-op does in fact take off, and we're able to assist the farmers in selling their product and get more people to eat healthier.
All islands or just Oahu?
There are a number of aquaponic farms on the other islands, but for now, I guess we're starting in Oahu. There's several farms on the Big Island that we definitely expand to.
Huh. So where do you expect to be in 5 years? A bigger co-op? How about your own facility? Expect that to be bigger?
That's definitely on the drawing board. That would be great.
Any publications you contemplate? You're going to write this up in a book or something?
I'm working on it, but there are a number of books out there already. I guess everybody has their own angle and viewpoint.
Should I read a book or should I just talk to you and get my farm started?
Both, and you can read the forums also.
Yeah. Sounds like a forum is a great place to start,
It is.
because you can read it and ask questions
Definitely.
about what you read. That's great learning.
It's a great way to share information.
Okay, one last question, Albert, and that is, where is this going on a community level? I mean, you see it. You see the excitement, or not excitement, as the case may be. You see people coming to it, embracing it, maybe even trying to make it bigger, maybe even thinking about going commercial. You see the industry growing. I like your view about, how well it's growing and where the industry is going to be in, say, 5 years. Is it going fast enough for you?
It could always go faster. Nowadays, you hear about so many food recalls from different stores and everything. Being able to grow your own, you know exactly what you put on it. who handled it and that kind of stuff. So in 5 years, in 5 years, I'm hoping that a lot more people will be growing their own food in their backyards, and eating healthier.
Yeah. What about the agricultural industry in Hawaii? You know, what I get is, so you have diversified agriculture such as it is, and frankly, you know, since the days of well, the 70s, you know, and the failure of the plantations, people had hopes then for diversified agriculture. It hasn't really happened that much. This is kind of a new hope for diversified agriculture, but there seems to be a kind of inconsistency. And what I mean is, diversified agriculture as agriculture is in competition with aquaponics, isn't it? Selling to the same markets, at least on the produce side. Where does that end up? Which one do you think will prevail, or will they both just continue on down the road?
I think, like everything else, everybody's going to find their niche. There's some things that aquaponics can't grow, or doesn't do as well as in the ground. So while you could water fruit trees with aquaponics water, which would be high in nitrogen, you know, you still need terrestrial farms to produce some of the fruits and a few of the vegetables.
So it's both.
It's
so
both,
it's
but
different kinds of products for each one.
Yeah, definitely. Aquaponics in general, though, you can grow a lot of things more in a smaller piece of land, more efficiently, I think. So that's where aquaponics will take off.
Yeah.
Where it's taking off now.
And how about aquaponics fish versus open ocean fish?
Well, there's some debate about that. I gave some tilapia to my sister, and of course everybody's watching this knows that tilapia is not that popular in Hawaii. It's associated with aloi, unfortunately, because they're so hardy and strong. But 800,000 pounds of frozen tilapia are imported from Asia every year for relatively cheap, and that tells me that
into Hawaii.
Yes, into Hawaii. You can find it at you know, a lot of the major chains now, restaurants and grocery stores. Generally frozen, maybe filleted.
So tastes are changing here.
It definitely is. Tilapia, farm tilapia, doesn't really have a strong taste. So when you cook it, you can apply a lot of flavor to it, and it's a pretty good fish. As far as versus open ocean, I think open ocean will be is probably better, but you can't grow mahi in your backyard, right? So there's always going to be that.
Not yet.
Yeah. Not unless you live on the beach, maybe.
Well, I hope all that comes true, Albert. I'd like to see Hawaii become sustainable. I'd like to see everybody get involved in diversified agriculture. That is, the rich and the poor, everyone, you know, so that we can be a sustainable island state. And I'm sure that's what's on your mind too. So over time, do you think the state can be that, or will there be resistance, you know, by the food stores and resistance by the individual buyers who want to do it the way they've always done it?
What I'm seeing in the background is that there's just different levels of interest. There's definitely a big interest now in growing your own, returning back to, you know, growing your own produce. I've read that around the 1940s, before the big supermarkets came to being, everybody grew the vegetables in their yard. And since then, with industrialization and careers and everything taking off, we moved away from that. So I think more people are moving towards growing their own produce and getting back to the roots, eating healthier, and it just comes down to your time and interest, I think.
Yeah. You're going to stay in this business?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, this is Albert Fung. He runs Aquaponics in Paradise, right here in Nu'uanu. This is ThinkTech Hawaii. We're talking about agritech in Hawaii. We're looking at it from all sides, including especially aquaponics in Paradise. Thank you so much, Albert. Great to have you on the show.
Nice to be here.
Aloha.